There are many pros and cons to content creation, especially if it's regarding talking about films. While I explore some beautiful films on this journey and get to share the joy with you, there are also instances where you see me suffer, rant with pure agony, and there is a sense of relief when I have undergone something and informed you that you don't have to do the same. Even though 6 months have passed in 2024, there have been my fair share of film experiences that have either made me pull my hair in frustration or made me contemplate leaving the theatre midway. The movies that I'm going to mention are, of course, exclusive to me feeling that they are terrible from a technical or storytelling POV. If you disagree with the list and have your own takes regarding which films were left out, please do chime in the comments below. Without further ado, listing out films that were a cause of my therapist having more on her plate than the usual, here is Tried&Refused Productions with top 10 worst Indian movies of 2024 so far. Number 10 goes to Ishq Vishk Rebound. I think this was one of the few films that I could not even individually review because it had bummed me out so much that it had extracted all the joy out of writing about a film. A film that just benefits from borrowing an IP of a popular Hindi film, rests all of its incompetence to tell a young story on the charm of Rohit Saraf, and finally just formulated into becoming a boomer take on a college love story played by actors in their late 20s. The film eventually turned out to become nothing but a bastard child of Ye Jawani Hai Deewani and Jab We Met, but lacked the abandon and organic storytelling of those original films. While Gibran showed some promise, the film could not even pass off just as a frivolous, carefree love story. If Rohit Saraf in the film can be roped in to do a Bollywood film because a producer was impressed by his play in a college in Dehradun, then I can easily pass off as Abrar's young version for Animal Park. Number 9 goes to Turbo. The reason I had not reviewed this mammootty starrer was because many film reviews were getting taken down on its opening weekend, and I felt like it was not worth the risk. But hand to my heart and with utmost sincerity, I must say that Turbo was underwhelming in several aspects. Promised to be a high-octane action film, but as Turbo Jose indulged in brawls, it just lacked the slickness you associate with films like Bhishma Parvam. The film unnecessarily integrates Marvel elements by handing over a Thanos-like glove and a Thor-like hammer to Mammootty as weapons in action sequences. And as the film progresses to become about a huge financial racket led by Raj Shetty, the sequence of events get more absurd as the running minutes pass by. The score takes the shape of just becoming a rave party from Anjana rather than reflecting on what's happening on the screen. Sunil is in a more absurd role than in Jailer in this film. Raj Shetty has random English dialogues like "what a bloody cliche" as his goons take the shape of martial artists, and eventually the film turned into a fever dream of crazy ideas but lacking any form of structure or even payoff as a mass commercial film. Number 8 goes to Malaikottai Vaaliban. I can't tell you how terribly excited I was when it was announced that Mohanlal is going to collaborate with Lee Jojo's Pillissery, especially because the announcement happened at the time when Mohanlal was featuring in a slate of awful films other than the Drishyam series. This interesting collaboration piqued everyone's interest, but Malaikottai Vaaliban formulated to become an incoherent mess despite some great ideas in its narrative style. While the film looked exceptionally beautiful and Mohanlal as the undefeated warrior invested everything for the role, especially shining in the final act as the movie becomes a Shakespearean tragedy, these merits were sadly few and far between. The action sequences had random cutaways and comedic gags. The interpersonal relationships were odd and lacked an emotional connection. The music integration was random. The antagonists were mere caricatures, borderline irritating at times. And eventually this venture became exhausting to sit through, resulting in becoming one of the most polarizing films to come out in recent times, but making it tough for even die-hard fans to look for a silver lining. Number 7 goes to Watan Mere Watan, a film that should have just been an inspiring story based on real events on an unsung hero for our freedom struggle, just exposed the opportunity versus nepotism debate with Hindi cinema, where clearly less than competent actors are handed over meaty roles, which in turn lead to the quality of the film suffering tenfold. The film never transports us to a different era, most of the film being shot in curated sets. The gimmicky British imperialist officers who sport leather overcoats in the heat of Bombay became the icing on the cake. The film eventually became stale and generic with its approach, and as Sara attempted to inspire us by shouting "Karo ya maro," it just made me opt for the latter option. Number 6 goes to LSD2. This is a film that pissed me off, because I have immense respect for Dibakar Banerjee and what he is capable of as a director, being one of the few creators who actually has a voice and through his stories wants to communicate his stance on the socio-political state of the country. LSD2, however, was a dirty, grimy and incoherent mess, lacking the inventive approach of the first installment that beautifully assimilated different shooting techniques and intersperse the various POVs with great skill. The film acts as a cautionary tale of our dark present and future, where life itself would be meaningless and we would much rather surrender to the digital world than create real connections. It spoke about inclusivity being used for optics, but all I wished for with this film was that it had a more cohesive structure, because it becomes increasingly frustrating as some of the plot lines abruptly end and move on to the next character, highlighting the ADHD tendencies of the demographic Dibakar essentially wanted to speak on. Number 5 goes to Crakk. You all know I root for Vidyut Jamwal with a passion, almost foolishly so, because insanity has creeped in with this journey of rooting for him, always hoping for a different result. And Crakk in no way was the high octane answer that we want to associate with a capable action star like Vidyut. Other than some mad action set pieces, the film is inundated with cringe dialogues, like when they introduce the contestants. I remember someone saying, "Wallah Habibi, he's from Egypt. Chili chicken, ni hao," while describing a girl from China. Amy Jackson speaking like Captain Andrew Russell from Lagan. Vidyut's flirting skills with Nora. Vidyut telling her, "Tujhe dekh ke to andar wala jag gaya." And noticing her shocked expression, he says, "Dil jag gaya re, tune kya socha?" The Riz was definitely in a negative. The film was just confused on what it wanted to be. And if it just stuck in being a no-nonsense action film, we would never be associating this film with this list. Number 4 goes to Guntur Kaaram. The big Sankranti release starring Mahesh Babu, and other than seeing him dance with absolute mad energy and matching and sometimes stealing the spotlight from Srilala, this film had absolutely nothing new to offer from a storytelling POV. Even Mahesh Babu's confidence and cheeky one-liners could not elevate this film, as Hanuman became the crowd favorite, a film that released on the same weekend. The purpose of women in this story was to be mere flower pots. Meenakshi, playing the role of Rajji, has nothing to do in this film, other than serving food to Mahesh Babu and, in another case, chakna and alcohol to both him and his father. Srilila is only described as figure, mind-blowing figure, bloody mind-blowing figure by the hero. The staging of the action is generic. The existence of Jagapati Babu is only to be ridiculed and for his goons to be beaten up to a pulp by Mahesh Babu, making most people who have seen the film feel that only if Trivikram had made the core focus of the film the family dynamic and the parallels with Indian mythology, Guntur Kaaram would have become a compelling commercial film at least, rather than what it was, pure fluff and nothingness. Number 3 goes to Aranmanai 4. I am absolutely blown away by the fact that the same director who made Anbe Sivam has more or less resorted to dedicating his life in directing meaningless horror comedies that test the patience of the audience. Who am I to say anything when this god-awful Aranmanai 4 actually has gone on to do close to 100 crores in its theatrical run? The 4th installment of this franchise that never seems to end has the tonality of a Raghav Lawrence horror comedy like Kanchana. They are loud, crass and all over the place. The film actually had all the potential to be an interesting story regarding the supernatural elements, but its comedic elements are so irritating, I wondered why I even thought it was a good idea to watch it on streaming. I usually find Yogi Babu endearing, but my god did he get on my nerves with this film. a ghost that can be identified by Instagram filters, an elderly woman trying Paresh Rawal flirting tactics from Welcome, racist punchlines like Yogi Babu calling someone Black Thunder, and a bootleg Dementor's defense against the dark arts final climax make it absolutely baffling for me that such content is actually clicking with the audience. What's better than a film about tormenting ghosts if you can advertise it this way?
समझ रहे हो? समझ रहे हो आप? समझ रहे हो ना?
Number 2 goes to the family star. I had heard that the family star starring Vijay Deverakonda and Mrunal Thakur was abysmal, but I did not anticipate what a total show eventually it actually was. Directed by Parshuram, the film attempts to showcase Govardhan as a perfect man. Every woman in this film lusts over him, and everything he does is for his family. Come on now, let's screw spoilers because I am saving you from the torture. So, the romance that brews between Vijay and Mrunal takes a dramatic turn when it's revealed that Mrunal was just doing a thesis on his middle class circumstances, so he makes his life's mission to become rich and prove it to her that he is more than his financial circumstances. Before he embarks on this journey, by the way, he of course slaps her across the face. It's revealed actually that the dream job Vijay gets after this, Mrunal is actually the daughter of the owner of the company. Mrunal has inherited an infrastructure $1 million company, but in the first half of this film is pursuing anthropology and writing a thesis on a middle class man. Make it make sense. Vijay as the hero threatens a goon that his family also has men who can do things to the goon's women without asking. Yes, this is a mass dialogue in the film, by the way. The movie becomes an absolute cringe fest in the latter half, where it shifts to USA and Vijay showcases his architectural skills and eventually makes up with Mrunal as she is randomly about to get married to someone with political influence. Awful is an understatement. Number 1 of course goes to DCMC Bade Miyan Chote Miyan. This was supposed to be the return of Akshay Kumar to the action genre, the return to the genre he made so popular in the 90s, the high-octane action spectacle his skill set deserves, and what we got was what we should have expected anyway from the same production company that brought us Gunpat. A film so stale in its execution that it extracts a boring performance from Prithvi Raj as the villain, giving random speeches on Pralay, every excuse he gets. Akshay, known for his comic timing, is overshadowed by Tiger Shroff of all people, having most of the gags. Manushi Chillad is found in the most bland role, while Alaya F is probably in her most irritating one, lusting over Tiger most of the time and reassuring us she is highly intelligent. You ask how? Arey dude, she said nerd is life. The film has dialogues which would make even Salim Javed proud. Like Tiger talking about the villain and saying, "Ye aadmi hai ya dandruff? Jata hi nahi hai." Other than Akshay doing a Raju pose, nothing was a highlight. I mean, if in a serious climax action sequence, you've got Akshay hitting a humanoid and reacting by saying, "Asli steel," then the only thing left in this film was for Akshay to transition into a Kajaria steel ad. Why did we expect anything? And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below which were your worst films of 2024, at least till now. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle is right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.